Chapter 18. Natural Immunity.
There is one last thing I should tell you before you venture off and go. This is quite possibly the most important thing that any human could ever know.
The intuition paused. What is it, Ma? What is it that I should know before I go?
As this world is filled with suffering, and you can see it through any creature's eyes, as some beings are filled with hatred, all beings are terrified with fear that their body will someday die. Doctors and physicians claim to hold cures, but many diagnose diseases unaware as to where the problem starts. The real disease is born in the mind, and that is what leads any person's body to fall apart. The world is overrun with pills and quick fixes. People nowadays undergo major surgeries to suck away their fat, yet their patterns continue with constant consumption of ingesting. We must get to the root of the problem so that the problems do not continue festering. If a tree branch is dying, imagine how a modern human doctor might examine this sick limb. They would prescribe medicine and methods to try, seeking a solution to fix this branch even if the disease is unknown. When one medicine doesn't work, the doctor offers up another. Whether they inject, troubleshoot, or surgically repair, they continue to search until the problem is discovered. But why don't they look at the roots? Why don't they begin to examine what is within the soil, its nutrients, overall health, and wellness of the tree? Doctors are so quick to offer medicine, prescriptions, and visits as long as the patients continue to pay the fee. You see, medicine and pharmaceuticals are not so much concerned with health and wellness, but rather the medical system is compromised of a cycle of suffering itself. If all their patients were to be cured, they wouldn't be able to absorb all the riches they keep to themselves. This is a major issue, and the system itself does not seek an actual cure. The humanity of health has been lost because the only way the system continues is if the sick patients continue to come through the door. They seek more money, more patients and pills. The healing never quite reaches a state of wellness because the patients are consumed with bills. The system is sick, and so this requires a cure. Now, do you know how we can fix this?
She paused. I shook my head no.
Break down the brass door,
She said. The brass door?
Yes, that is the lion's roar. The way in which the world can heal.
She said. What do you mean, heal?
Yes, it's a very big deal. Summon the sacred paws, and then we'll turn the medicine wheel,
She said. The anima seemed to speak in codes, as if there was a way this puzzle might be solved. But my simple soul was trapped in human skin and bones, and so all I could do was surrender to the confusion as the riddle revolved.
In order for the lion to roar, you must find the genie that arises out of the sea. We have to partner with a spirit more powerful than any human on this planet, and that is the way our world will heal. Then we'll be forever free,
She said. The sea? What's in the sea?
the cure to our natural immunity.
She said. Immunity?
Yes, that's why we need Bolin Yukti. He's the one who comes from the sky, and he's been waiting for you, waiting until the boyhood dies,
She said. Yes, I remember you mentioned Bolin Yuktiku.
Have you noticed how a human grows? How it requires food, water, love, and rest. And if a child is given these, its potential begins to grow, where this child becomes a man who will find his best. What is the special medicine that makes them sprout? There is no pill to make a human whole, but rather the natural immunity lives within, and so this is the source of our true soul,
She said. So many of these doctors are driven by money and greed, and even if there are some who truly want to help, and yet the way the current system is set up, it's as if all living humans are caught in a terrible spell.
This spell is an illusion. It is the cycle you recognized as samsara, It's the continuing process of grasping and attaching that leads to more suffering. And so these are the forces that are driven by the demons within, called Mara. This is the urge to consume more, and the urge to find more and more beautiful mates. This urge is the automatic unconscious that seeks individual survival, which causes the dumb and ignorant to continue to reproduce and procreate. Yet there is something unknown to these beings. Even if their intellectual studies and vast medicines claim to have the proper expertise, there is one way to heal the human being. Within each person is the spiritual cure to heal all disease,
she said. And this is natural immunity. You said we need to open the brass door? You said something about the sea and how that's connected to a lion's roar?
Your path is like an invisible thread, and this way is unknown to any woman or man. But there is potential written in the divine fabric, and so you can trust that there is a divine plan. It's up to you to take part, since this is not for the faint of heart. Start with the sea and look for the genie. That is where your journey to manhood will start,
she said. I left toward the coastlines, and I journeyed through the low country where the Spanish moss hung from the trees. And everywhere I ventured, this was exactly where I was meant to be. After a good trek, I found the sea's shore. Then the clouds had passed when the rain no longer poured. I bowed to the ocean, and I began to see how each wave would follow another. The source of energy was an infinite collection of our sisters and brothers. Our whole family is one, infinite and never-ending like the vastness of the sea, so deep and whole. This great ocean was the essence of the spiritual source that makes up you and me. And when did we forget the healing power of the simplest things? I looked up to the clouds, and there I saw the sun. These rays illuminated and warmed the land. And was this the light from where our soul first came from? Then I took a big breath in, and I felt my vigor expand. Without this deep breath in, how could this life force drive a body to rediscover the spiritual nature called the Atman?
And what about laughter? What about the medicine called sleep, touch, and connection? Every night we die to our senses, and every morning is our resurrection,
said the anima. Once my toes touched the water, I realized I didn't need sentences to hear the intuition's voice. She spoke through everything everywhere, and that is how I realized every moment was created to be enjoyed. The water splashed down. O Pema, you are the universal lotus. Is that you, my great teacher? You are the waters of creation that extend grace to all spiritual seekers by flowing through us. Flowers bloomed in the dirt beyond the sand, and all of nature went hand in hand. Pelicans and birds flew from above. Certainly nature was in no rush, and somehow all these natural forces surrendered to nature's divine plan. The immunity was within us, present here and now. And I remembered how Ma said we would wake up in time, but the only question left was how. And the medicine was all around us. It was in all the natural bodies of water. All we need is a time to be silent and reconnect with the spiritual source that was passed along from our mothers and fathers. Oh, the material world is so confused. Mother Mary, let us help them unravel this grand knot. I bowed to the ocean as I offered myself to the liberation of all beings. May we free all others who are trapped and caught. O great Mother Mary, thank you for all my gifts and talents. Can you show me the way forward? Then without thinking, I began to lean forward onto my tiptoes as I squatted lower to balance. Yes, balance. This seems to be the way. And so I remained in this humble position, balancing on my tiptoes, content that this was the posture in which my body should stay. Something felt right on track, as if I had already arrived. All the energy in my legs began to surge and burn with vigor. And now all the layers of my subtle, emotional, spiritual, and physical body began to thrive. Yes, now I'm beginning to see that there is power within this great sea, Waves crashed down and reached forward when the ocean came forward to greet me. With my toes sinking in the sand, I continued to balance upright on the tip of my toes. Now what was I doing? Well, surely it wasn't I who would know, because who was I? Not just a man growing to die. I began to align myself with that spiritual source within, and its power could not be denied. This inner aspect began to permeate, as if I was right where I was meant to be, completely alone and trapped in this world. As long as I was present right here, then I was free like the sea. Oh Ma, I finally remember who I am. I'm the spiritual source called the Atman.
Is that right?
She paused.
You are a shaman.